We manage over $500,000 a month in ad spend for real estate agents every single year. So I'm going to show you inside the ad accounts of agents at monthly spending levels all the way up to $10,000. And by the end of this video, you'll know the exact amount you should be spending at whatever stage you're at for your business. In our free marketing community, agents always ask, what's the minimum I should spend on Google Ads? So we figured we'd make a video about it. So let's start with $500 a month in ad spend. $500 is the absolute minimum we let our clients spend. And we usually recommend starting quite a bit higher. The reason is at $500 a month, there's just not enough leads to make a really meaningful impact on your bottom line. With online lead generation, the conversion range in the first year is typically between 1% to 3%. If the average lead cost is $15 a lead and you're only spending $100 a month, you're only generating 80 leads per year. With this kind of method, it's just not that much. Whereas if you're spending $500 a month, at least you're getting 400 leads a year. Another reason is when you spend more, you actually start focusing on the good leads rather than the bad ones. Because with any type of online lead generation, you're gonna get people who give you bad information, who are tire kickers, etc. You gotta kind of wipe off about half of those leads right away. Anywhere from 15 to 30%, there's a lot of gold in there and you have to treat them well. So still, the numbers aren't that high, and that's why we usually recommend spending a little bit more, but everyone has to start somewhere. So it just depends on where you're at and where your budget's at. So moving up to $1,000 a month, this is where you start to generally see significant results. So if your lead cost again is $15 a lead, that is 800 leads over the course of a year, which is obviously double the lead volume of 500 a month. Now, this is where it gets interesting because this is where you kind of need better systems in place. And this is why at Agent Launch for our clients, we actually build their CRM system on the back end to help you stay on top of these leads. This is where you kind of need like prompts in your CRM, a task-based workflow is what we like to use today with personalized video outreach. So at least reaching out to these people 3 times in the first week. And then once every week, we have a template that we use that's really good for sending people a weekly video and some resources. You need systems at this level. But what it does is it starts to allow you to focus on those better leads, right? So now you can look at maybe 8 to 16 closings in your first year at $1,000 a month spend. That's why we generally recommend starting at that level. Is trust me, I've been doing this for years. We spent millions and millions of dollars on these ads. We've worked with hundreds and hundreds of agents, and the low spend thing just doesn't, it's okay to start, but you got to accept that you're probably not going to get that far that fast. And what I normally recommend is having a higher ad spend at first. And it's okay if you need to taper that off after 4 months because at least you have a pipeline, right? I would rather spend $2,000 in month 1 and 0 in month 2, 3, 4 than spend $500 over the first 4 months because you're just going to get those leads quicker and then you have more time to actually convert them. If you're interested in learning more about online lead generation, marketing, sales systems, conversion, you name it, comment community down below and I'll send you a link to get access to our community where you can get access to all our courses, resources, and be a part of the community where we get topics like this to make videos about. Now let's talk about $1,500 a month. This is where I prefer people start. Most people coming in as a solo agent are spending $1,500 a month with us. $1,500 a month is where we start to see real results. It's at that point where you can handle it as an agent, but you're gonna get busy. Now that's obviously a good thing. And what we find with some people is if they get a lot of pipeline, after 4 or 5 months, they're like, hey, I just need to pause my ads for like, a month or 2, which we don't recommend. I just would reduce the spend quite a bit. So you at least have some new opportunities coming in. It's not good for the ads if you just pause them outright. But basically, this is where we start to see solo agents crush it. So we've had many examples like Jeremy did 300K in his first year. Nikki, you just did about 250-ish. And they were spending that amount, about $1,500 a month. There is going to probably come a time where you're just like, I'm drowning in leads. But most people, if they have no leads right now, that's a problem they would like to have. So as far as results, this is where we see clients get the 10 to 20 deals a year type of range in their first year. And if you can pull that off, that means you're well into the ROI positive numbers. You've made your money back. You're super profitable. You're at like a 3x on your money after a first year. And then you go into your second year feeling good about reinvesting. And that's when you can give a big pipeline of leads. And all of a sudden you can start looking, bringing on a buyer's agent, maybe building a team if that's what you want. Or you can just keep running the show solo, whatever it is for you. But basically, this is where it gets interesting, and then it just kind of snowballs and you're off to the races. Next is doubling that at about $3,000 a month. So this is not what I recommend for a solo agent at this point. If you're spending $3,000 a month, this is generally if you're just a super hard worker, you're crushing it, you're like, I want more leads, I want to work, I'm in my grind phase. Yes, you can do that as a solo agent for sure. But this is generally our clients that are spending $3,000 is when it's more than one person. So either you have a partner that you're sharing leads with, maybe you have a buyer's agent or someone underneath you that you've brought onto your team. This is when you start to get into like the team building range. So this is where you can really see results. And like we have clients, who do 150 plus sales a year from Google Ads. they're spending in the 10,000 plus range, but 3,000 is where you start to do like real good numbers, where you're starting to close maybe 20 to 30 deals in your first year. So 3,000 is generally when you have some leverage. So you might have like an ISA, you might have an assistant, you might have a buyer's agent. There's a lot of varieties in which this can come in, but that's generally what we see is people starting to build a team. Maybe they have 1 or 2 people in their team and they want to feed them. The next level I want to jump to is 10,000 a month. This is really reserved for bigger teams. This is like, if you're a team that has, 5 agents plus, that's when you should be spending like 10,000 a month if you really want to feed them. But this is where things get complicated. So our sales coach at Agent Launch, he's the fastest growing real estate team in Canada. So we actually do coach our clients on this actually a lot, is not only the lead gen and the conversion, but also like, how do you scale that with a team? The flip side of that is you have to have a good team on the back end who's working those leads and taking them seriously. And this is where you get into having regular sales meetings every morning, sales coaching for your team, making sure they're on top of the leads, because you're spending a lot of money at that point. You're putting $120,000 a year down. You need to make sure that those leads are getting taken care of. And this is probably the place where you're no longer prospecting leads yourself. You've become more of a sales manager, a sales coach, and you have a team that you're actually working on underneath you to basically turn these leads into sales at scale. So like we have a few teams on our roster who are spending 10 to 30,000 a month, and they typically have big teams in like the 10 to 30 people range. And so this stuff does scale, but I promise you it takes a good amount of work and dedication to actually build it into your process. You got to make sure you got your best people on it. They're setting an example for other people, because if you have 2 or 3 agents who are crushing it and you're spending 3 to 10,000 a month, then other people are going to want in. And so you scale that ad spend up as you add more agents, but you never want to just throw everyone into it at once, right? Because they need coaching, they need guidance, and they need someone else to prove it out first. Generally, we recommend just scaling vertically, meaning basically we have one city and we're getting really granular about where we're farming. So our program, we do omnipresent farming strategies. So like we'll run ads on Facebook and Instagram, Google and YouTube, etc., in one specific area. But if you get up to 10 to 30 grand a month, you're probably going to be farming more than one area, because you're going to have agents in different areas. You don't want them all in one place competing necessarily. But again, what kind of results can you see for 10,000 a month? Well, using the same math, 10,000 a month or $120,000 a year, it's going to give you 8,000 leads. So now in some cases, like lead cost is lower, in some cases lead cost is higher. It depends on your market, the competition, the swings, all of that. How many people are searching, how many people are advertising. There's a lot that goes into it. But just for simple math, that could be up to 80 deals per year. Now that's if you hit your 1%. And then in year 2, if you hit your 2%, that could be another 80 deals just from the leads you did last year. It's a process of starting slow, learning the ropes, and growing and expanding as you go. So to summarize, the absolute bare minimum is $500 a month. What we recommend is $1,000 to $1,500 a month to start. And then anything above that is when you get into scaling. That's when you should already have some deals done from this. That's when you should be feeling confident that this is the right system for you. That's when you need really strong systems on the back end. And if you guys want to learn more about how to build Google Ads, how to build these systems, and you want our feedback, join our community. Just comment community down in the comments and I'll send you a link to join, and I'll see you guys in the next video.